All right.
This is the Doug Gottlieb Show. This is America's longest-running afternoon drive sports radio show, broadcasting live from the studios of Fox Sports Radio.
Bang, bang, won't stop till we're legends.
Here's Doug Gottlieb.
Boom! What up, America? Doug Gottlieb Show, Fox Sports Radio. Coming to you from the sunny, wonderful city of Los Angeles, California. Hope wherever you are, you enjoyed a restful, fruit-filled, sunny, warm Memorial Day weekend. Thanks for making us part of your day. We really appreciate it. If you miss any of the show or you want to suggest this show to any of your friends, simply tell them to download the Doug Gottlieb Show. Of course, we're on Sirius XM the first 2 hours. We're on the iHeartRadio app all 3 hours. Any of your terrestrial radio stations. What is terrestrial? That's your regular radio stations, AM, FM, like places like San Diego, some are big AMs. In places like Phoenix, West Palm Beach, Tulsa, Oklahoma City. Welcome in. And, of course, the ever-expanding empire of the Doug Gottlieb Show. Whew. That was a hell of a game. And as much as the end of a game, it felt like Golden State was just running out the clock, which is what they did. Let's get into it. Look, what we're left with is Warriors-Cavs part 4? Weird, right? 4 is a tough one. And as much as you want to say, hey, man, think about the 4th Star Wars at Jar Jar Binks, right? And don't give me that was actually the first one. That was the 4th one. But Rocky 4 was pretty good. Police Academy 4 wasn't totally terrible. Fast and the Furious, I haven't watched, but I'm guessing since it made it to 7 and now I think they have 8 coming, probably pretty good. So you can tell me, hey, I got franchise fatigue. I don't want to go see Solo, and I don't want to go see the Cavs play without Kyrie against the Warriors. You'll still watch because it's still LeBron now with underdog type status going against the Warriors, who seem to never be shaken or never be shook by any first half deficit because they have this magic pixie dust where they decide, hey, you know what? Let's play defense in the third quarter, and why don't we make some more shots then too? But there's a genius to it. Sure, they have more shot makers than other teams, right? If we looked at the raw data, it would tell us that the Boston Celtics just didn't make enough shots. They're up 12 and couldn't put away LeBron James and the Cavs. There's some accuracy to it. There's some validity to that. If you looked at the raw data, it would tell you that the Cleveland Cavaliers, they could just buy a shot. I mean, how can you miss 27 threes in a row? I'll tell you how. There's this expression, and I think it's I think it's genius. And it's a Vince Lombardi expression. It goes like this. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. And from the time we are children to the time we're adults, the thing we never want to admit to is being tired. Right? Somehow being tired is being less of a kid or being less of a man or less of an athlete. Which my wife will tell you, like, I'm just tired. I told you yesterday I was a couple days out in the desert and then hosting Dan Patrick's show, and I was tired. I did get a little midday 30-minute close my eyes, even though we had people over siesta. Sorry, I'm a little tired. But fatigue makes cowards of us all. And yesterday was a loss for analytics, but not in the way you think. You can sit there and go, hey, Rockets took too many threes, which in hindsight is completely accurate. And we'll get to why it's accurate. And it's more than just taking threes, but why it's accurate. Here's a question for you. How many threes a game did the Rockets take in the regular season? Because they took 44 last night and made only 7. How many threes? 42.3. It's only slightly above average. And, of course, the Golden State Warriors, well, they took 39, and they average only 28 threes a game. Matter of fact, Golden State shot way more threes yesterday than they normally take. If anything, Golden State played into the hands of the Houston Rockets, especially in the first half, chucking and ducking threes. But yesterday was a loss for analytics. You're like, wait, that doesn't make sense because the numbers would eventually, those numbers will even out and those threes would be worth it. It was just bad luck. It was just a bad stretch. That's all it was. The problem with analytics and looking at a game on a sheet of paper is it doesn't give us the reality of life in basketball, sports, fatigue, pressure, defense. A pass, and anybody who's ever played basketball know this, a pass can be off by just 6 inches. And it screws up a shooter's rhythm. We go back and look at Quinn Cook missing a 3 at the end of Game 5. Remember, he didn't catch that ball cleanly. And even though he took a dribble to establish rhythm, whatever your percentage is of making that shot, wide open shot at the end of Game 5, the numbers go down greatly because Quinn Cook, who's a G League player at the start of the year, has never played under that pressure, was probably mentally and emotionally a little fatigued, didn't catch the ball cleanly. And so even as a 44% three-point shooter this season in the NBA, that becomes a low percentage shot when you don't catch it cleanly and you're under that kind of pressure. And so where it's a loss for analytics is this. It's not the idea of shooting 44 threes. It's the, hey, why not catch your breath? The style that Houston plays, and obviously it was hurt because they didn't have Chris Paul, right? You don't have Chris Paul, there's a second guy who can initiate offense, create shots for himself, create others. It was awful. It was awful. I likened it on Twitter. Prince Harry had a longtime girlfriend who I guess they had a long talk on the phone, and then she went to the ceremony. And I guess the reason they broke up was she struggled with the pressure of being the girlfriend and potential princess married to assume the throne at some point. It's a lot. But can you imagine her sitting there going like, all of this could have been mine, right? All of this could have been mine. Whereas Chris Paul sitting there going like, we could have won this game. I could have been there. But this is the problem with the style of the Rockets and this overuse of the, hey, it's analytics. Hey, it's 3 instead of 2. Take threes. Don't take layups. Don't worry about post-ups. You saw its flaw yesterday. In the regular season, your best player, James Harden, can get away with taking breaks, taking possessions, taking quarters off defensively. In the postseason, you can't. So no matter how good a shape you're in the regular season, the conditioning it takes for the second half of a 7-game series is at a much more difficult level. Then you take away Chris Paul, and oh yeah, by the way, you're playing a high possession game. In that sort of pressure, playing 7 games, your 99th game of the season. You can tell me about all these stats about this is how Houston plays. But in that particular game, you have to adjust to the game itself. Once you miss 10 in a row, you go like, hey, fellas, what if I threw it into P.J. Tucker in a post-up against Steph Curry? I don't know. We do have Joe Johnson over there. We bring him in. Why don't we throw it to him at the block? Because he is ISO Joe. He might be able to not just, even if he doesn't get you a bucket, he gives you a chance to go, I don't even think Houston knows what happened. All right, I want you to listen. This is James Harden after the loss at home.
Just in that second half, our pace wasn't there. That third quarter, I was trying to get the guy, come on, let's go. It's time. We just didn't have that extra juice that we needed. I don't know if it was the big minutes. I don't know what it was, whatever it was.
Listen to Kevin Durant, who knew what it was.
They came out with a lot of energy. They're at home. They hit some shots early. We knew at some point they'd tire out. I mean, James dribbled so much each possession. I know at some point he'll wear down.
You can't do it every time. You wear down. And you're playing defense now. Whereas even though the Golden State Warriors were nearly taking an equal number of threes, how do they play offensively? They shoot it much quicker. Okay? They shoot it way too quick for most of us who follow basketball. Like, man, they shoot it really quick and not always, and contested stuff, they get it up quick. Additionally, though they're not as good as they used to be at it, one, because Durant holds it a little bit, and two, because they only have 3 shooters and you don't have to guard the other 2 players. It's not as easy to move it, but they move the ball. So it's not one guy attacking over and over and over and over and over. That doesn't work because it wears the guy out, and it gives, when you move the ball and you share the volume of shots, now all of a sudden you have more energy for defense. Whereas with James Harden, your best player ends up wearing himself out. And he has to play defense that he doesn't normally play, and he's doubly worn out. James Harden didn't even know they were out on their feet. That's all it is. That's a fighter that's out on their feet. That's Conor McGregor when Floyd Mayweather had him out on his feet.
I thought it was close though, and I thought it was a little early of a stoppage. I get like that when I'm tired. I get a little wobbly and floaty. Get me into the corner and I'll recover and I'll come back. I'd have liked him to hit the floor. I'd have liked the ref to, you know what I mean? There's a lot on the line here. He should have let me keep going, I thought, but fair play to him. That's exactly what it is, it's fatigue. That's why I thought the ref could have just let it keep going a little. Let me go down. Let the man put me down. Like wobbly and fatigue, that's energy. That's not damage. I'm clear-headed.
Yeah, I'm fine. I swear I'm fine. I was fine. Like, dude, you weren't fine. Floyd Mayweather, who hadn't knocked anybody out in over a decade, was just teeing off on you, and he might even have knocked you out. You were defenseless. Why? Because fatigue makes cowards of us all. There's 2 reasons I don't run marathons. Maybe 3. One is I just don't like running. Right? I'll run if I'm chased, but I don't enjoy it. I just don't enjoy it. Second thing is, do you know the story of marathon? You guys know the actual story of marathon? There was a century. A century is somebody who's like a guardian of the city of Athens. And the town of Marathon was 26.2 miles from Marathon to Athens. And they were going to be attacked. And so he ran from Marathon to Athens to deliver the message that the enemy was coming. He died after giving that message. The third reason is, and I'm sorry if you've just eaten lunch and you're in the West Coast, listen to us. People actually poop themselves while they're running marathons. I'm not like making this up. They cannot hold their bowels because they are so tired. Now, obviously, that's an extreme example. A less extreme example is the Houston Rockets, who are one of the greatest three-point shooting teams, one of the greatest offensive teams we've seen in modern NBA history. I mean, couldn't throw it in an ocean, and they were standing on the edge of a boat. Was it the Warriors' defense? Some of it. Was it the pressure of Game 7? Some of it. Was it fatigue? Yeah, a lot of it. And doing the same thing over and over again and saying, hey, analytics tell us to this. Yeah, but the reality is throw it into a post-up every now and again. All right? Move the ball around every now and again. Catch your breath. Catch your breath. Because if not, you're going to miss shots you normally make. That's what fatigue does. And just like we told you in baseball, what happens with pitchers when they reach that 100-pitch mark or they reach their normal limit? Right? It happens in baseball. Right? In baseball, when we watch the playoffs, we always hear, got to keep it down, got to keep it down, keep the ball down, got to keep the ball down. And then all of a sudden, you're in the playoffs, they hit 100 pitches and they leave one up and the ball, like, oh my God, then no one needs a stewardess. Well, he is tired, so you struggle to locate. Start walking guys, leaving balls up in the zone, you miss. And if you miss by that much in baseball, they deposit it out into left center. Same thing in basketball. Shots that normally went in suddenly are just short, or just long, or just off. Fatigue makes cowards of us all.